whole team and now these haters salty.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to IE Sports Radio. I'm Niners Jess, along with Ty Alston, Maddie B, and your girl Bex. We are the East Coast Red and Gold. What's going on, faithful? It's Thanksgiving Eve.
Heck yeah.
Hello, friends.
How's everybody doing?
Happy end of Seahawks season part 1, Eve. Maybe.
I'll take that.
Hope so.
That'd be a good start
Definitely.
to it anyways.
Yeah, it definitely will. All right, let's get right to it. Talking about the Bucs game. Brock Purdy went 21-25, 333 yards, 3 touchdowns, perfect quarterback rating. Is he the best quarterback the Niners have seen since Steve Young? Becca?
I think it's a little early to make declarations like that still, but he certainly is shutting down the hate and the doubt. You know, he's building up quite the catalog there to really substantiate his claims, or the claims that he is the best since Steve Young. So I mean, he's playing lights out. He's putting up numbers that only the elites are doing. He's hanging in there with Mahomes and other quarterbacks in rankings and numbers and yards, and leading the league in some categories. So it's tough to argue when the numbers don't lie. But, you know, is this one complete season enough to really say, yeah, he's the man. He's this next Steve Young.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that.
Go ahead, Zach.
Sorry, I just jumped in.
No, go ahead. No worries.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. I think it's still too early. I mean, the guy literally just completed a full season of football, and I'm not heavily stat focused. Joe Montana doesn't have the most dominant stats in the world, and we all know what conversation he's in. So it's still too early to tell. I think we all tend to have, revisionist history. We're not focused. Like Jeff Garcia played some damn good football for this organization, and put up some great games where he led the team to comebacks and things like that. Been in some battles. So we can't lose sight of guys like him, Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick, who have done things. But, as we mentioned before, Brock is ascending. We see his trajectory. He's going up. And if he continues this way, he'll definitely be in the conversation. So let's give the man some more time to get seasoned and get some games under his belt, and then we'll come back to that. Yeah.
Go ahead, Maddie.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm at with it too. Like, I really want to jump on right now and be like, yeah, dude, this is the guy, right? Like, this is it. This is the winner, right? This is the one we've been waiting for this whole time. But, you've seen it fall off the wagon with a few different quarterbacks out there. Mac Jones looked like he was going to be pretty decent his rookie year, and I'd say that hasn't gone all that hotly. Some other guys have projected up and then just kind of not really taken off. They've just kind of left where they are. I don't think Purdy's doing that. In fact, if anything, I've been very encouraged by everything that's been happening. He seems to bounce back from adversity when he has it, which is a big deal to me. He's not just wallowing in it and laying around in it and finding more. So, we'll see. This is a big stretch right now. Like, you come out of this stretch coming up, Seahawks, Philly, and Seahawks, and you come out 3-0, maybe we can have that and start having that discussion again. We get towards the end of the regular season and they got a number 1 seed. Let's go ahead and revisit this conversation. Right now, no, but he's certainly trending that way.
I agree. I definitely think he's trending that way. I think it's too early, and you're right. Like, let's have that conversation, after we get out of the stretch, and see how we do. George Kittle past 3 games, 20 catches, 354 yards. He's silently having an all-pro season. Would you agree?
It's amazing what happens when you have a quarterback that like really likes getting him the ball on a regular basis, right? Like, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but over the last couple of games, particularly, like the targets have really kind of been concentrated at this point. It's McCaffrey, it's Debo, it's Ayuk, and it's Kittle. They're not spreading it around. You know, you're not getting Jennings isn't getting 5 targets or anything like that. You know, they might get one in for juice here and there, but like reality, they're really kind of coning it into their 4 top guys to touch the ball. So it's been good like that, and they've also had really good matchups. You know, like that's just kind of how it works. And Kittle can typically make anything a good matchup, but there's a lot of teams this year that are not good at guarding the tight end. And fun fact, Seattle is one of those teams, and we know that from history. They've always had a tough time guarding Kittle. So for sure, he stays healthy. It seems like when he's in the progressions, Brock will look his way, and I don't think that was always the case with previous quarterbacks.
Yeah, Ty.
Yeah, I don't think it's a matter of having a quarterback that gets him the ball. I think it's just a concerted effort to get him the ball. And I talked about this a couple of weeks ago where I said he needs more targets, right? And we've seen his targets per game go up, but it's a matter of he's the guy on this play. Like he's the number 1 target on this play. Kyle's like, I'm going to try to create a matchup, and Kittle's your first read and go to him. And that's what we're seeing, right? We saw this just past Sunday. Like when we were deep in our own end, he called the bootleg out the Kittle, right? He did that play a couple of times in the game. And Kittle doing a crossing route. Like there's a concerted effort to get him the ball where he's the number 1 guy. And that's what we need. He's a matchup nightmare. We've seen it. Get him the ball. That's all you got to do. And had 9 targets on Sunday. That's like the ideal number. Get him 9 to 10 targets and just let him go off.
Yeah, Becca.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to argue with in anything either one of Ty or Maddie have said. It's really, I think you need to start to get Kittle the ball. We didn't see that as much in the early games, and we won all of those games, but people are starting to really shut down or really try to lock down Christian McCaffrey and stay on Debo and some of the other targets. So now I think it's time to get Kittle involved, and I think it's really working out well for everyone, because if they're covering, Ayuk and Debo and Christian, and we can go to George or Juice, then good for us. We've got plenty of weapons in the Swiss Army knife. I think he's always going to be the guy who's going to try and do more with whatever he gets, and take the ball as far as he can take it. So, you want the ball in the hands of someone like that who's always out to do more with it, or be the best he could be. So yeah, I think it's good for us and it's good for him, and he deserves every ounce of play time he can get. Put the ball in his hands. It's usually in good hands.
Yep. Good things happen when the ball's in George Kittle's hands.
I'll set you right up. I
Always
wanted to try and do that.
Lobbed it up for you. Well done, Rebecca.
I tried.
Sin says Kittle's a weapon that we need. Been on the shelf too long.
Yeah.
Kylie says Kittle's a tone setter along with Debo.
Yeah.
It's true. And Steve-O, Kittle's like Jerry during these primetime games. Question from Kylie: should Brock be in serious MVP conversations?
If Jalen Hurts is in the conversations, then Brock damn sure better be. Because if Jalen Hurts can throw for 150 yards a game and, rely on 3 guys to push him in the butt to get a first down, then Brock should definitely be in the conversation and should be ahead of him, most definitely. because he's doing
100%.
more and playing better. I mean, if you watch an Eagles game and you watch a 49ers game, there's no way you can say Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback right now than Brock Purdy. And I don't give a darn about the weapons and all this other stuff. One guy's just executing better, and that's Brock. So, yeah, if Jalen's in it, then Brock is definitely in it.
What do you think, Maddie?
Yeah, I mean, based on what Ty just said, and for the stuff that I've seen statistic-wise, sure. Like, it seems like they really want to give it to the quarterback on the number one seed. That seems to be the thing nowadays. Still think the MVP on this offense is Christian McCaffrey, because that's who the offense runs through, and that's
Agreed.
what makes everybody better. That's what has stepped this offense up. And I believe we saw how this offense looked without him in the second half against Cleveland. It was not great. It just that was a big one for them to miss, right? They could miss out on the number one seed just because of that game, not because of all the other stuff, but just because of the half of football that Christian McCaffrey missed, right? So when you look back and look at it, like, the next level of this offense was unlocked with Christian McCaffrey. Brock Purdy has been a huge part of that and has been able to kind of ride that wave in. But I personally can't give the MVP to Brock Purdy over Christian McCaffrey. I just can't. I don't. I think McCaffrey is the MVP. Purdy's there. He's definitely going to be an MVP candidate in the future and all that stuff. I don't think they're as good without Purdy, but I don't even think that. I think they're really struggling offensively if they don't have Christian McCaffrey, like, a lot. Like, they're in the mud a little bit, and I still don't know why, but he just unlocked it. He was the key. So I'm a CMC for MVP guy, but I could see Brock.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just going to say I agree with you 100% on that one. I feel CMC is getting completely snubbed. Like, in the beginning of the year, he was totally in the conversation. Oh, this guy should be for MVP. And then it was like, after the Cardinals game, it just completely went away. And I'm like, he didn't stop playing, but they just want to give it to a quarterback. It just is what it is. And it's a shame.
Yeah, I agree.
They want to pay that premium for running backs. You know what I mean? They already don't want to pay running backs. God forbid you pay an MVP running back, right? And I'm not saying the 49ers didn't have an issue with that, but, like, around the league, like, giving a running back money is like,
that's taboo.
I feel like you get laughed out of the owners' meetings if you do that, right? So, you know.
Yeah. And to your point, Matt, I would agree with CMC. Here's a guy who just tied the record for scoring touchdowns in 18 consecutive games. That's hard to do in and of itself. And he was almost able to break it. So you take this guy who's out here smashing every record, leading the league in rushing yards, and no one wants to really acknowledge that. And I do feel like Brock Purdy is if we're talking quarterbacks only, then yes, Brock Purdy. If Jalen Hurts is in there, then so is Brock Purdy. But I think you're absolutely right. Christian McCaffrey deserves it head and shoulders above all of them.
Kylie actually agrees with you, Matt, but the award rarely goes to running backs, and he has CMC for Offensive Player of the Year.
See, I think that's a cop-out by Kylie at all. I think that's a cop-out by the league. Like, an Offensive Player of the Year. How can, if Brock Purdy wins MVP, but Christian McCaffrey wins Offensive Player of the Year, I'm going to need someone to reconcile that for me. I'm going to need someone to sit down and explain that one to me, right? Because that's basically all you're saying at that point is we're trying to keep the running back market down so we don't have to pay them as much. That's literally all they're doing at that point. And they're not even hiding it at that point. There should be a class action lawsuit after that one if that happens. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, there's like at that point, it's like Exhibit A. Let's see here. Like, then stop calling it the most valuable player. Who's the most valuable quarterback? And the award. And the award is the most player. Stop this little sham of, well, anybody could win it. A defensive player could win it. I know a kicker won it in '82. How Mark Mosley won it, I'll never know. I still wonder if there was like a prank between the AP voters or not. He only hit one field goal in the NFC title game the next year too. And weird kicker, but whatever, it worked out for him. just blows me away. It absolutely blows me away. Just like, let's just disregard the running back. The running back that probably gets as many targets passing as anyone, and then gets carries on top of that. Like, nobody's getting more touches than Christian McCaffrey, and yet somehow, like, we can't put him in the MVP conversation. It boggles my freaking mind. Can't figure it out.
What's up, Terradome? We have a birthday in the house. Happy birthday to Kylie Young.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Hey,
Happy birthday, Callie.
Awesome. Hope the Niners get a win for you. All right, let's talk a little Brandon Ayuk. The dude, like, his route running is just lethal. Getting open. He was the receiving yard leader week 11 with 156 yards. Thoughts? Go ahead, Becca.
I love Brandon Ayuk. I've got him on one of my fantasy teams, and he's killing it this year.
Well done.
Yeah. So BA's doing all right by me. But yeah, I think year over year you see him improving. Just I don't know. I think maybe being in the doghouse and working with Purdy when Purdy was the backup. Maybe they built up some rapport there, that they already had some chemistry going into both being A1 starters. But whatever they're doing and whatever they've done, I mean, it's amazing. You watch them, the timing of it all. That was a Joe Montana-esque ball that he dropped to Brandon Ayuk in the Tampa Bay game, where it literally fell in the basket, and it was perfectly placed. I mean, the defender did fall down as well, but still, even if he hadn't fallen, Ayuk had every opportunity to catch that ball. So I think whatever they're doing together is working well. And, you just see a maturity with Brandon Ayuk in his route running. And I think his ability to read the field a little better, year over year, they get better at that stuff too. But yeah, love me some BA.
Yeah, Ty.
No, let Matt go first, because I might take a while.
Okay. Go ahead, Matty.
Just amazed that he continues to get better and better and better every week. People are actually starting to notice it now, which scares me a little bit. But Beck really nailed it on that throw. The reason that defender fell down is because he knew he was going to have to run full speed to get all of his shoot up, because he knew he was done. And then he went ass over tea kettle, and that was the end of it. You know what I mean? So, for a quarterback that can't throw a deep ball, it was amazing to watch that play. So I'm gonna let Ty take the floor now, because I know he's ready. He's ready to go.
No. Listen, we've talked about Brandon Ayuk before. Last season, when we first started the show, we've talked about how excellent his route running is, and really, since 2021. He's been doing this. He's just been out there cooking defenders, turning DBs completely around, and just getting open. It's what he does. The Tampa Bay game, I was there, and I watched every time they lined up against him one-on-one, and he could have easily had a 300-plus yard day because they could not guard him at all. He was constantly just open and not getting the ball because the ball went to other people, but he still ran his route hard. Like, he knew he was the third, fourth option in the route tree, but he was still cooking and getting open. So if Kyle wanted to and just said, you know what, just throw the ball to BA all day, he could have had a huge record-setting day. Number 35, Dean, and the other DB, they couldn't handle him at all. It was just no contest. And we saw this last year when they played, how he just toasted them. This year is no different. So, it's good that people around the league are taking notice. We've been noticing this, right? We've been talking about this. And it's good to see him getting the recognition. And he finally got his deep ball. This is what I want to say. What was it? I think it was like 2021. sent that tweet like, deep ball me, man. I'm open deep. He gets open. And we finally hit him with one. And it's great to see. And if we continue to do that, if we can dial those up and get it to him, what you going to do with this offense? Because now we're taking the top off of defenses. That's just going to open up a whole lot more underneath for like Kittle to do work, Debo to do work, CMC out the backfield, and it's going to open up the running game more. So BA is phenomenal. Love him. Parag, if you're listening, work that cap number, man. Re-sign him. I want him back. I do not want him leaving this organization.
Amen.
Yeah,
to
you
that.
can't leave. Definitely can't
And
leave.
think about how much Miami schemes to get Tyreek Hill into the offense, right? And get him touches. Think about how much yardage and touches Brandon Ayuk would have if he was in an offense where he was like the one weapon or the 1A weapon, right?
Yeah.
And he's still getting 156 yards in this offense. And he's option 3, right? It's probably CMC, Kittle, then him. And that's not a knock on him. It's just the way the offense is set up. So it's wild, man. It's totally wild.
Yeah.
So speaking of the offense, through 11 weeks of the season, have we seen the full potential of the 49ers offense?
I don't think so. There's a lot of trick plays that I have recalled this team throwing that I have not seen yet. I still think there's probably plays that Shanahan's been setting up all year that aren't ready yet, that will be ready for big game in December, maybe in the playoffs, whatever it is. No, I think this offense is like a whole story, right? Like they have your one base play and then they run 57 different things off of it. I don't think we're there yet. I think this is the Death Star, right? We know what it's capable of, right? It's blown up in Alderaan, right? So we know what it can do. Okay. Mm-hmm. But in terms of like the actual potential, like it hasn't gone out and blown out every planet in the star system yet, right? So let's see what happens when that happens. And I think it has the opportunity to do that, but I think they're waiting. I think it's kind of measured a little bit. You know what I mean? It's kind of a marathon, not a sprint. They don't want to show everything that they've got on tape yet.
Yeah, I'll jump in it because I want to follow up on that. Yeah, it is like the Death Star when, remember when Palpatine was laughing because the Death Star wasn't complete, but he's like, look at this, it's fully functioning, right?
It's fully operational.
That is fully operational. That's our offense. It's fully operational, but it's not fully formed yet. So like we saw the past 2 weeks where like in the second quarter, the end of the first half, second quarter, offense has been kind of stagnant. Like it didn't move. Yeah, we got a field goal here and there, but it didn't move as crisp, right? It's still not clicking on all cylinders like we want it to be, but the potential is there. And once we hit that, whoo, Lordy, it's going to be something to behold. But yeah, I still think the offense has a lot more to give us, and I'm just waiting for it. I'm just waiting for it to completely click, where it's like, okay, no one's stopping us. Here we go.
Tomorrow night would be the perfect game to actually just go off.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind. I would not mind that. If they did that.
I mean, that'd be fine. I want to see him do it again next week too. I really want to see him do it next week. Like I want 58 points in Philly. Like I can't. If they can drop 60 in Philly, I'm totally cool with that. Like, I'm 77-0, 79-0, 80-0. Like I don't care.
Another Dallas blowout is what I would agree, Matt. But to your point on the holding back a little, I think you're absolutely right. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And I think Kyle is probably dialing up specific things that he only wants to do when we play Philly, or saving something just for Seattle, those type of things. Because I think on short rest, we want to win. We don't want to try and go up there and drop 70 on Seattle. We don't want to put every ounce of our energy there. necessarily. I think we need to win. We got to win there. But in terms of the full potential of the offense, I think it's going to be measured. I think we play to win and then move on to Philly. And if we're going to dial up something special, let it be there and hopefully make another statement. But yeah, I agree. I don't think he's pulled out all the stops. And I think we've seen certain games be really great in one aspect of the game. The running game is on, CMC's great. Debo's great in this game, or this aspect of it, passing's amazing. We've seen, the offense do a lot of things in different facets, but all together at once, I don't think we've seen it yet.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Moving on to the defense. 14 interceptions this season, most in the NFL. And the same question, just the defense. Have we seen the full potential of this 49ers defense?
No, it's kind of the same deal. I think they're kind of just now getting their act together, right? Like, I think we've seen that over the last couple of weeks, and now you gotta work in this, you gotta work in Brown because he's replacing Talanoa Hufanga, which is a huge loss, attitude-wise for the defense and everything else. So, no, I don't think you have. I think you've seen exactly what defense could be and probably should have been the whole time. I think the addition of Chase Young helped them do something. I don't know, make them figure out that they can rush the passer without blitzes and zero blitzes. I'm not really sure, but whatever it did, man, like, it's really helped. And the pressure and the stuff that they're bringing now is allowing the linebackers to not have to clean up messes on the field. Like, they're able to take care of all the things that they have in front of them. So I still want to see them get more locked down on third down. It was great against Jacksonville. They still had some moments against Tampa where it was like, what? You really, what? Why? Why? How did you, what? But, I don't think they're quite there yet on the defense either. And that's kind of the cool thing, right? It's week 12. I don't want them to reach their peak right now. Like, I don't want them to reach their peak for another, few weeks. So, I think everything's still trending up. I still think there's a lot left in the coat pockets.
Yeah, Becca.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and I think we have seen some flashes. The first out of the gate 5-6 weeks there. I mean, the defense was playing lights out at every level, and I think people have adjusted to that, or we've had some fall off there a little bit. But I agree with Matt. I don't think we've seen everything, and I think some of it's settling in. You've got now personnel changes. We've got to compensate for Hufanga being out, and those kind of things are going to happen. So I think the defense or any side of the ball, they're always going to have to evolve as things happen. Next man up. You got to get the next guy in, and Jair Brown came in and played really well in his opportunity. But I do think that takes some adjusting too. So, and yes, to your point, Matt, we don't want to peak right now. We want to peak in a few more weeks. We really want everything to come together and be amazing and perfect and healthy at the end of the season, and not here in the middle. So, yeah,
we have to keep going in that direction, though. We can't go backwards like those 3 losses. We definitely have to keep going in the same direction, and I definitely believe that we will do that. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, we'll get it right. I don't think it's 100% intact. I think it's still going. Remember, it was just last week where we went back to the nickelback change of putting Demo in the slot, having Ambry come out outside. Isaiah Oliver is on the bench now. We just made that key change, and of course the Chase Young addition. Now he's in the rotation, right? So, and I still think, they're going to figure out whether do we start starting Chase Young because he still isn't starting, or is he still coming off the bench? There's still that whole decision to be made. So there's still things to work out. What's more effective, and then of course the safety position. How are we going to start playing that? Are we going to ask, Brown to do the things Hupp did, or just have him stay back with Gip and, kind of let Gip help him out, dictate things, do things of that nature? So there's still some things to figure out on defense. They're playing well, but I think they can be even better once all these things kind of settle down and even out and they just start hitting the stride.
So now Huff goes to IR, torn ACL, speedy recovery, Huff. You'll be back better next year. Enter Jair Brown. He gave up that 41-yarder, but then came into his own and really, did pretty well. With him in there now, do we take a step backwards?
No. I'll jump in
Why?
there. No. Here's the thing. When Huff got injured, when that play happened, he immediately left the field. Jair Brown came on. No one even noticed. He played from that point on to the entire game. He was in there. And remember, he helped get them off the field or cause a field goal or something. He played well from the beginning. Everyone wants to talk about that 41-yarder, and I went back and I watched the TV replay, and Moose was saying, "Oh, this first play he gives up that pass. That wasn't his first play. He was in there previously, and that pass he gave up, they attacked Huff with that same pass earlier in the game, and was successful with it. So they got Huff on it also. So it's not like Jair Brown did something bad. They caught the All-Pro with it too. It was in their game plan to attack the safety in that way. They tried him again and again and again, and we saw he made plays. Yeah. And that's what you want. A key thing is the same way Talanoa Hufanga credited Tayshaun Gibson with helping him, Gibson will do the same thing for Jair Brown. After that first series, when Huff went down, on the sideline was Gibson and Brown talking. I mean, right in front of each other. I sat and watched the whole thing. And then the coaches came over and they were talking with him. But Gip was right there just talking to him, letting him know, hey, this is what we're doing, blah, blah, blah. Just being that coach, being that mentor, and helping him out. So that's a huge plus. So I think he'll be okay. And another thing, I watched the mic'd up. When Fred Warner's your biggest cheerleader, I think you're going to be okay. When All-Pro Fred is your biggest cheerleader, I think you're going to be okay. So I don't think we take a step back.
Good record.
Say that again.
Fred's got a pretty good track record for cheerleading and scouting and things of that nature.
Yeah, I trust
I
Fred's
hope he's eventually
opinion,
the general
his
manager
judgment.
of this team. Yeah, he seems to know. Who's got that dog in him, right? Like, I guess he's got one of those X-ray things, and he can see the dog in the chest, like the meme. So, let's get this guy to the front office after he's done. You know what I mean? Hopefully he's not done for another 20 years, but guy seems to know what he's up to. But I mean, it's just another. This is how they build teams. They find guys that can run through walls, and this is just another guy who can do it, right? So they just know what they're looking for, and they seem to get them. So big chance for this kid. Huge chance for this kid. So big chance for us too.
Yeah, Becca.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be all right, but we're going to see the same thing happen to him that the people have been doing to Ambry Thomas, which is taking shots at the new guy. They're going to test him. They're going to test him really hard, and you're going to have a play that's going to get away from you. But just like we've seen from Ambry Thomas, he's coming into his own. He's getting better and better with every game he plays. And I think we'll see the same thing out of Jair Brown. He seems to have a good head for it, and really, really, it's experience. It's a lot faster. So, I think having Gibson around and people like Fred Warner, as you guys have already mentioned, being there, helping him, mentoring him, and cheering him on, and making sure he stays, with his head in the game. I think he's going to be okay. But it won't surprise me to see him give up something big once or twice. I think it'll happen. He's a rookie, so you have to expect it. But also, he's going to be just fine. He's going to make some plays too.
One thing I like is that he knows he's going to get picked on tomorrow. And he said that he will be ready for it.
Yep.
So that's, I like stuff like that. But I think our Jersey boy will be ready.
Yeah.
I think he'll have a good game tomorrow. All right, let's move on to game balls. Go ahead, Maddie.
Well, Brock Purdy for having the perfect game, right? Like, I hope somebody signed that ball. I hope he signed that ball, put that on his mantle, right? Whatever you want to say, like, that's pretty cool. That's, like, to be on a list with Steve Young and Joe Montana and be a 49ers quarterback is damn cool, right? I don't really care what the stat is. And he's on it now. So definitely to him, to Brandon Ayuk, who I really just was, he did some magical things the other day. And I think sometimes that can be missed. Even with that 156 yards, it's a very quiet 156 yards nationally. So definitely getting him a game ball. And then defensively, I'm gonna give it to Steve Wilkes, because whatever he did coming out of the bye week, figured it out, man. He's figured it out, and he was able to figure out a way to withstand everything going on with Hufanga getting injured. As Ty said, you didn't even notice until they were like, "Oh, hey, he's out." You know what I mean? So those would be my three.
Yeah, Ty.
On offense, my game ball goes to the skill positions, BA, Debo, and George Kittle, because they were cooking all day long. I mean, they were just open, wide ass open. It was crazy. They couldn't be guarded by anybody, no matter who they put out there. It didn't matter. When I watched the replay on TV and I saw the one big pass to Debo, he was the only person in the TV screen. There wasn't even another defender on the screen. Like, that's how open he was, and that happened all day long. So they were definitely on their A game. So they get a game ball. On defense, I'm gonna have to go with my boy Eric Armstead. I was rubbing the belly. He was doing his thing, causing havoc. Had a great game, and I also want to give one to Tayshaun Gibson, because he was all over the place too, making plays. He could have had that pick near the end of the game, the goal line, but he bumped into Mooney Ward, but he read that perfectly. Great game by him. So those are my game balls.
I like keeping the balls out of the case. So this week, again, I take them out of the case, and I'm giving it to George Kittle, BA, and the defensive line. Go ahead, Becca.
Well, I was giving mine to Purdy and BA as well for Purdy's perfect game, and Ayuk just seemingly playing amazing football. On defense, I was giving mine to Fred Warner, who seemed to make every single tackle in the fourth quarter. I don't know how he was everywhere all at the same time, but he was playing some lights out football. And for Jair Brown for stepping in like that and making some key clutch plays at the end to close out the game, to really seal the deal for us. So he gets a game ball from me.
All right, so moving on to Seattle. Our three matchups last season, including the playoffs, we swept them. Their roster is completely different this year. I think on the defensive side of the ball, they have two returning starters. With Brock playing the Seahawks last season, can he carry over anything from those games as far as experience?
The noise.
I don't know, Thursday night.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Short
short
rest and
week.
the noise. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
It's kind
short
of the
week.
same
He's
scenario.
He's actually healthy going into the game this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
He's
He's
even
not battling
healthier,
a weird
right?
injury.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot he can carry over. Just the experience of it, I think, is the biggest thing You know, he knows what it takes. He knows what he needs to do going into it. And as Matt said, he's healthy this year, so that's going to help him big time. But he knows last year it was to clinch the division. Very important. So this year it's not there, but it's to help stay on top of the division and still work toward that number 1 seed. So the same importance is there. So it's from a mental standpoint, he definitely has a lot to take with him from last year going into the game, and I think he'll respond accordingly.
What do you think, Becca?
Yeah, I mean, I think, they've talked about it a lot. If you watch the interviews, it's all about the noise and the atmosphere of playing in Seattle. And you heard Nick Bosa say you really can't explain it unless you've experienced it. And you don't, it's not something you can tell somebody about. You have to be there and know what it's like to play in the noise level and to play in that atmosphere, and especially on short rest and Thanksgiving and all the, everybody's watching, the eyes of the nation. And those are the games, your boy loves to play in. So hopefully, that he's on prime time. So let's make sure we show up and show out. But it is short rest, and I think that is probably about the only thing he's going to take into the game. Other than it's Seattle, and it's an important game. It's divisional. All of those things matter. So, I think they're not going to be able to really take a lot from the last team, but certainly other elements of the game with the atmosphere and short rest and things like that.
Go ahead, Maddie.
Scheme, definitely, in terms of seeing that before. All the other things that you can carry over as well. But I mean, I think he's probably carrying over stuff from week to week at this point, right? He's learning different lessons against all sorts of different defenses and different styles, and seeing different ways of disguising blitzes that we're not seeing before. He's getting all the rest that we wanted another young quarterback to get, right? So that we could see what we had. And that's what's happening right now. So now we can just enjoy it.
So how do we take the noise out of the game?
We did last year. Last year we got up on them. We forced 3 and outs, and just led from the beginning. We got to do the same.
Yeah.
And the faithful that will be in the house needs to make noise on our behalf. If you go back and watch that game from last year, they were very loud and very boisterous and made their presence known, which definitely helped. Even when Seattle started to kind of try to creep back in it, they were still there making noise. So that's going to be the key. And I know there's supposed to be a lot of 49er fans, a lot for Seattle. It's not going to be our usual takeover, but we got to do that. But the key is offense has to come out and just jump on them, right? Put points up, go up early, and kind of set the tone for the rest of the game, and we can keep them quiet.
Yeah, I think we have to start fast. And just on both sides of the ball, take them out early.
Yeah.
It's the Scott Barkus scenario, right? You got to jump on top of them and then beat the crap out of them. You know what I mean? You got to give them the Luthez press and then never let up until your mom pulls you off. That's really what you got to do, and then they'll stop. That's
it. Geno Smith is questionable, but he's playing.
He's going to play.
I think it's
playing,
a matter of pain tolerance for him. So we'll see. We'll see what we get from Geno Smith.
Right.
Who was a player to watch?
Geno Smith, a 60% Geno Smith. Like, what's the difference? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
True.
They've seen this episode before. You know what I mean? So
right.
Whether it's him, whether Drew Lock ends up showing up at some point, like, I don't know, it's bad news. And then they're also missing Kenneth Walker, right? So they got to go with Zach.
He's out.
Guy, and I think
he's out.
Yeah.
So that's another big deal for them. They're banged up in a lot of different spots. Like, we're banged up too, but like they're really, really bad.
Not like them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And DK Metcalf has not practiced either.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
So that's something
Yeah.
that's something to monitor as well. But who's a player to watch on Seattle not named Lockett or Metcalf?
Jackson Smith Jigba.
Thank you for
Team,
saying his
some reason
name.
this year. You're very welcome. JSN, as some people like to call him as well.
There you go.
You can also do that as well, of course. Rookie receiver that they drafted this year. He's gotten a lot of snaps. If there is no Metcalf, he's going to get involved. But for some reason, the 49ers this year have sometimes allowed the third receiver to go off. Michael Wilson from the Arizona game earlier this year. And you're like, what? That's what? And I could see him playing one of those roles. The other guy you need to watch out for is Bobo, who is their other wide receiver. He is he's a sneaky, subtle guy out of there. And if Metcalf doesn't play and JSN ends up playing in the one hole, then you'll have Bobo probably in the slot. So either one of those guys could cause issues, especially if they get behind and they got to throw it. Like, I really like if you're gonna remove half of your game plan and let us just go full pass rush, that's great. But it can tire out a defense sometimes if you do that too early. So what I want to see is that, and then the other thing I worry about is dump offs to the running back too, because I guess Shepard is a pretty good receiver. So, but to me, JSN or Bobo, either one of those two wide receivers.
Yeah, they're still the 13th ranked passing offense, so definitely they have the weapons to get move the ball for sure.
Tyler Lockett seems like he's questionable every week with something. Yet he plays and always catches a touchdown against the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just one of those deals. And he gets, he's like in the corner, and the quarterback runs around 5 times and throws it up in the bag, and then he gets his toes down, like Wilson and Sutton a couple of weeks ago, kind of the same sort of vibe. So yeah, he's pretty consistent. If they can get anything else around that, like, it's a division game. Like, division game B, they're gross. They're usually gross. So kind of got to be prepared for anything.
Yeah, just worry about whoever's in the slot, because Metcalf and Lockett will be on the outside. So whoever those young guys are in the slot is just worrying about them. And luckily, we have Lenore in the slot now, so he can handle them. I think the screen game is something to worry about. They like to throw those bubble screens and stuff like that. One thing, DK Metcalf in the slot. They like to move him into the slot to make him happy, because he tends to get frustrated on the outside and start crying. So they'll move him to the slot. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's it. But but Jano and Bobo are the two guys, the sleeper guys to worry about.
What position do we need to attack the most?
Like our offense attacking their defense?
Yeah.
It's the tight ends in the middle of the field, like the tight end in the middle of the field attacking their linebackers and safety. They can't guard it. They can't guard tight end. It was like, so we got the best tight end in the league. Turn them loose. 15 targets.
And they're ranked pretty low in rushing too. So I mean, we could just run the ball at them too all day.
Yeah, that's a carryover from last season, right? They can't stop the run, especially you can gash them up the middle. So you know what we did to them last year, and we brought in number 24, the big guy, who's been MIA, Kyle. So yeah, but yeah, 15 targets for Kittle and pound the rock.
Yeah.
I love how the 49ers can win like playing NFC football, right? Throwing to the tight end, running, and then tough defense, right? And a smart quarterback. Like 80s NFC East football is how this team is winning right now.
I was about to say the same thing.
Right?
That's old school 80s NFC.
Yep. Old school. Yeah, that whole team struggles in coverage. Jordan Brooks is one of the worst cover linebackers against tight ends in the league, yet they continue to have him do it every week. I think he's going to be Fred Warner. I don't think he is.
Is Adams even playing? Because he wasn't practicing either.
He is. He's playing.
Yeah, I don't
He
think
is?
so.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think he's
good.
playing.
We want him out there because he
Yeah.
covered. He couldn't cover a dead body with a tarp. Like, leave him out there.
Could literally have Lime with him and couldn't get any on there. Like, nope,
Yep.
nothing.
X factors on offense, guys.
How's our
Well, I think it's
offensive line
already
looking health
said,
wise?
which is George Kittle, the whole tight end piece of it, right? That's already been mentioned. So I think that's going to be one of them.
What were you saying, Maddie?
Health of our offensive line. And
Well, it looks
You-
like Aaron Banks might play. Spencer Burford, although he's listed as questionable, he will most likely be out.
Yeah.
So I believe if Aaron Banks plays, then John Feliciano will move over to the right guard.
Yep. I heard the same type thing.
Yeah.
John Feliciano is now like the modern day Jesse Sapolo or Randy Cross. He just goes
Yep.
wherever we need him to
Right.
on the line.
Or
Oh, hey,
if-
we need a center today, John. Oh, hey, we need a guard today, John. Oh, hey, we need a tackle today, John. Okay, that's what.
or if Aaron Banks does not play and Spencer Burford's out, then Feliciano will probably stay at left guard, and they're looking at Jalen Moore possibly at right guard. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
A position he's played before, Jalen Moore. He's filled in at right guard previously. So we'll see. Game times should be interesting. But I heard all points leading to Banks starting and Feliciano at right guard. Sleeper on offense. I'm going to say backup running back. Whoever that may be, coming in with fresh legs on a short week, getting yards for us.
Please.
Them guys are just sitting there chomping at the bit. We saw Elijah Mitchell come in last week and get 13 yards on his first carry. Like fresh legs, man. At this time of year, it matters. And for a team versus a team who can't stop the run, like, hey, let's use those fresh legs. So I'm going to say those guys will come in and maybe get some bursts for us and provide a little shot in the arm in the run game.
Perfect scenario in this one would be like to wrap it up like in the third quarter, let those guys get some run in the fourth, and then you kind of got like a mini bye week going into Philadelphia, right?
Yeah.
You have to play
Exactly.
this weekend, and then you can get ready for Philly next week. And none of the families is going, as far as I know. So like none of the families are going. Like I believe this is going to be like a straight out work trip. Like the franchise has even suggested don't bring your families to these trips to Philly. So like I can't imagine they're gonna go rolling in. And that's their last shot at the number one seed. And I know this team is really good, but I really don't like their chances if they don't know what I'm gonna buy and Philly does. Like I think that extra week of rest for a team like this, for the style that they play, I think is absolutely necessary if they're going to make it and win the Super Bowl. Like I don't think you can go that long without that break, that number one seed. I've seen it done before, but it's gonna be real hard.
Hold up though,
Yeah.
but we did it. We didn't have the number one seed last year, and it
Right.
didn't matter.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
you're right. But it's just one of those deals where, like, especially this year, when they're kind of going on a grudge tour. You know, it got short circuited in the game last year for whatever reason, right? Like it just wasn't their time. Can they do it? Sure. I would just like to have that. I would like to have that break. I think it's really important. I think it's really, really, really important to have that break. More so that Philly doesn't get that break, right? And we don't. And I think that's another advantage that they don't need to have. Plus, they really don't want to go rolling in there for the NFC title game again. You know what I mean? Like let's give ourselves every single advantage here. If you don't win that game, you're not getting it. So, but it starts with Seattle because you can't lose to Seattle either time
Right.
either. So, and you we watched Kansas City the other night. Like, they had 57 chances to beat Philadelphia, and they couldn't hang on to the ball. Maybe Taylor should write a song about that.
They shot themselves in the foot repeatedly. They just, yeah.
I wasn't
they should
impressed
blow
by
out.
either team the other night.
No,
No.
I haven't been impressed by a lot of the teams around the league this year. It seems like the quality of play is like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not. And if you look at the totals this year, a lot of unders, you don't see. For the longest time, for the last couple of years, there was always totals of 50, over-unders of 50. The highest over-under you get every week now is like 47, 48. And you're talking about teams with no defenses that shoot it out every week. But a lot of them aren't hitting it because they get into that 10, 5-yard zone. Whoop, interception, whoop, fumble. Whoop, we'll kick a field goal because we can't run the ball. Or we'll get stopped on 4th and 1 because we also don't know how to run the ball, right? Like, it's almost an epidemic. Like, you can tell that some practices have been missed by guys that weren't missed in the past.
It's just bad execution this year. It's been plaguing the league.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about the Philly Eagles game. That was just terrible. I mean, Philly should have got blown out, right? Mahomes has a guy wide open in the end zone and kind of throws it behind him, and then it gets easily picked off. It's like simple things like that. It's like, come on.
Kelsey fumbles in the red zone. When does that happen?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? It's stupid things like that. Yeah. But yeah, those two teams, I was less impressed with Philly than Kansas City.
Same.
And I'm looking at both of them like, oh, we can mop the floor with both of them. Like, that's just the way I feel.
Brian, I don't know if I agree with this. I don't think Detroit gets the number 1 seed.
They play hard, they play gritty, but I don't still think they're on that level that we
Right.
are.
Yeah.
Right.
Agreed.
It's just different levels to this, and I don't think they're there yet.
If they get it, it's because their schedule's not super hard. I think they've got like one tough game against Dallas, right, on the 7th.
Don't they play Dallas and Philly?
I don't know if they play Philly because I didn't look that far ahead, but I do know they play Dallas. So I could see them rolling. I could see them rolling through the schedule and just winning it by default. If they won it, I don't think I'd be quite as scared about it because I feel like you could go into Detroit and win. Yeah, be loud, et cetera, but like, they don't have the experience to do that stuff quite yet. And frankly, I would take my chances against Jared Goff. So if that happens, oh well, I guess. But we'll see. I could also see them losing the divisional round because I could see them playing the Cowboys and losing, right? Because that's the team that the Cowboys can go on the road and beat.
Yeah.
Not to be funny, but the Cowboys really are like, this is going to be kind of a dad joke, but like
Yeah.
they really are the wild card of the wild cards, right?
Yeah.
Because they basically already clinched a wild card. They're not going to win the NFC East in all likelihood. So they're going to be your highest seeded. They're going to be your 5 seed no matter what. So
Yeah.
who are they going to take out? Because they're better than the teams that are ahead of them. They just don't win the division because Philly's better than them.
Yeah, I was with you, Kali. Chicago didn't do us any favors either.
No. Screw it.
Bears gonna
Bears,
Bears.
man. Bears are gonna bear, man. Bear down
All
down
the time.
train. That's what that means. Yep.
So, Maddie, did you say your X factor on offense?
I did. The offensive line, like whoever's on that offensive line, who's healthy, who's gonna play
Okay.
for it. That to me is the key, because they got to control that trench. If Seattle gets any sort of confidence, they'll hang around. I mean, remember 2021? That team was terrible, and they still hung around and they ended up winning that home game, which was absolutely gross. So we can't. The offensive line has to come out and expose their will early. Like, set the tone, do your thing, let CMC run, give Brock Purdy enough time to pass.
Okay. My X factor on offense, of course, is George Kittle. I'm sure that surprises all of you.
This is stunning news. Like,
Breaking
No,
news. Yeah.
I'm like,
Heard it
I
I
here.
would
see it
never
coming.
have thought you, of all people, would choose George Kittle for.
I know, right? First time for everything.
Yeah.
I'm like Kyle Shanahan behind her right now. Like, What?
What?
I am rethinking everything in my life currently, all of it.
All right. X factors on defense. Go.
Jair Brown.
He's gonna have to play a good game.
Yeah, is he gonna be the dude? You know, is he gonna have some rookie mistakes? Yeah, like Geno Smith is a veteran quarterback. They got veteran receivers, so you know you could probably catch somebody sleeping if something doesn't go right. So Jair Brown to me is that X factor. Can he keep things settled down in the backfield? Steve Wilkes, the defensive back coaching guru, got him all coached up, ready to go. If he does, watch out.
I'm going Ambry Thomas. I think they're going to take some shots at him when he's out there. Yeah, just to see how he holds up. So he's my X factor.
Yeah, Becca.
I said Jair Brown the same time that Maddie did. Yeah, he's going to have to play a good game. They're going to take shots at him, and how well he does is going to be meaningful. You know, is he going to let how many big plays go, or is he going to be able to make a handful of them and really shut it down? So I think that's going to be an important part of the whole game.
Yeah,
Isn't that
I'm
what we used to
gonna.
say when we were kids? Jinx, like if you said the same thing at the same time.
You
apparently.
did. I did. I
And
said it at the same exact time as you.
I got to send back a thing of soda. I guess.
Yep,
I don't
you
know
order
why.
soda.
Yeah, I order soda now. Unbelievable.
Yeah, send it virtually. I don't even drink this stuff, so. Club soda.
Maybe I'll put some Gold
soda.
Bar in it. You know, a little Gold Bar. Just a
Nice
little
talking.
Ooh, some Gold Bar whiskey.
Ooh, there we go. Yeah, we'll take that.
Good stuff. Mine is Steve Wilkes. You know, you really got to keep this defense going. I believe it will. The execution is there. I feel like we're back. But yeah, I'm going to say Steve Wilkes. Score predictions.
Ooh.
The over-under on this game is 44, and I usually try to keep it somewhat close to the vest and close to like that number. So the number of 44, I'm going to guess probably like a 45, 46 point total. I'm going to say 49ers. They seem to hit 30 every time Brock Purdy touches the ball. So let's go 35-13. 49ers.
Okay.
35-10. 35-10, actually. Pardon me. I don't think they'll go for the second field, though. They'll try to go for a touchdown and lose it. So 35-10.
41-14 Niners.
I was going to go 30-14. Yeah.
You muted yourself.
We lost Jeff.
I'm here.
Jeff is muted. There we go. Here she goes. All right.
Ooh, she's back.
Last
This
week
isn't
you
like
couldn't
last
hear.
week where you had to
I know,
where you had
it
to lip
was-
read. Right?
It was
None of
crazy.
that.
Crazy last week. And I'm having like Wi-Fi issues tonight. Shocking. But yeah, I think I'm going to go 32-14.
Yeah, so we're in the same kind of wheelhouse there.
Yeah.
Becca, can Jess use your hotspot? Maybe you can share that with her.
Must be going around. I'm working off a hotspot tonight. We lost
needs an
power and
assist.
rain
What
last
is
night. It
going
was
on?
crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, the storm was crazy last night.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
I had to
Anything
shovel
else on
snow
this
today.
game?
Like, it's not even fair.
I mean,
You said
it's
you
the
shoveled
Seahawks,
snow?
It's Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
It's always
Not
an
much. My
unknown.
kids-
Yeah. Go ahead.
Wait,
Wait,
say
Maddie,
Rebecca.
Maddie, what?
Shoveled
Oh,
snow.
I shoveled snow. It was gross, and then like we were gonna think about it. Go ahead, Beck. I was like, there was a delay there, and you were there, and I was there, and it was like, I don't know what the hell happened. I'm off my rant
All
about
of a sudden,
snow.
It's the Seahawks and Pete Carroll, so you always have to be prepared because he knows how to dial it up against us and never take them lightly. And I don't think we are, but certainly on short rest, it's one of those games I don't want to see it be a sneaky loss. So hopefully we're ready for it and prepared, and it's prime time. So hopefully your boy Kittle gets to have the games he likes to have on primetime.
Don't forget about the fake punt. They will pull that out of their wahoo at any chance. Fake punt, fake field goal, just like what Becca said to follow up on that. Pete Carroll will literally do anything he possibly can to beat the 49ers. So
Yeah.
I saw Pete
On a
run
short week-
on the field and try to tackle somebody once. That's how
yeah,
nuts he
Yeah.
is.
Kyle
Nah,
did that
but-
a couple of weeks ago. He got a penalty. Pete does that, and they talk about how he's got a high compete level. So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's excited.
It's just
Biased.
it's another double standard by the national media
Yeah.
that's against the 49ers. It's just more.
Well,
of the
he's
same.
good.
Fine.
Pete Carroll's going to be chewing a lot of gum on that sideline tomorrow
I
night.
was just gonna
In
say,
anger.
preparing myself
So
to
much gum.
eye roll at the gum chewing.
Yeah, because how many times that the camera will pan right to him, and I've never seen that in my life, like constantly going right to him.
Who
I
wants to
wanted
see that? Nobody.
Yeah, nobody wants to see that. I wanted to touch on one last thing. Shannon Sharp, Stephen A. Smith, Nick Wright. All these guys are clearly not watching the 49ers play.
Anything,
And
not just the 49ers play. They're not watching anything, right? Like they're reading the talking points that they're given.
Yeah. Is this about Brock Purdy and
Yes.
all the yak comments and everything? Well, someone's got to get the ball to these guys, and Purdy seems to be doing a pretty damn good job at it. So I think the doubters are going to be there till he has a little more play experience under his belt. But with each game, he just keeps shutting people down, right? One more person that was a doubter is like, okay, I'm coming around. Look what he's doing. Look what he's doing. So I think, I hope he just takes that and uses it as fuel to keep pushing forward and to shut them all up and to silence the haters. So let him talk. Hopefully that's what he's doing with all of that negativity is like, watch me work. That's what you want to say. Watch me work. And use it to just continue to build himself up.
I kind of agreed with Shannon. I went back and watched the entire thing.
Mhm.
I didn't just look at one simple 10-second clip and make a decision. And what he was saying was, everyone wants to crown guys elite out of nowhere. And Brock Purdy's playing good, but he's not elite. He has elite talent around him, but he's not elite yet. And I agree with that. There's nothing wrong with saying that either. It's like Brock plays very well. He's got elite guys around him too. So it helps. So there you go. That's my 2 cents.
Okay. Don't forget to like and subscribe to us, the East Coast Red and Gold, on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Also, don't forget about Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. It's the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm. It's an all brisket jerky with gluten-free options, no MSG, no sodium nitrate, and is low in sugar and high in protein. Some of the best jerky you can get your paws on. That's planetjerky.net. Brisket beef jerky that's on a whole nother planet. Of course, you can find out more about IE Sports Radio at iesportsradio.com/East Coast Red and Gold. You can find out more about our show and, of course, merch, Fans of the Month, the IE Sports Radio blog, the Hall of Fame, much, much more. Again, iesportsradio.com/East Coast Red and Gold.
Awesome.
What he said.
Randy Daytona, what quarterback was lighting it up without weapons every year?
None. But it's the whole elite conversation. And everybody wants to be like, this guy is elite. Did you see him on Sunday? He's elite. Like, pump your brakes. To be elite, you have to be consistent with it. You have to do it over years. You have to be the guy to put a team on your back and do certain things. There's a level to it. Like everybody wants to crown these young guys elite. Like Jalen Hurts, he's elite. He's not. Good quarterback, good player, just not elite, right? There's Turadome mentioning all those guys. that Montana had. Montana was not elite when he first came into the league. That
He had
came
Mike
after
Schumann.
that came after
Lenville
years of playing. That he became elite. His timing got good. His anticipation got good. He got excellent at leading receivers upfield, like things of that nature, reading defenses. Like Peyton Manning was not elite when he first came into the league. But over years, like over a decade, we saw him reading defenses before they even got to the line of scrimmage. Like things like that. So it's like, let's pump the brakes on anointing people real quick and calling them elite, and let's let them develop. Like we said with Brock all this time. Let's let the young man develop. He's playing great. He's on our team, and we love him. We want to see him ascend. He's doing this. Let's let him keep doing that without putting all this pressure on him that he has to be elite. He has to be mentioned with Hall of Famers. Chill. Let the young man grow. And then in a few years, when he is elite, because he's on that trajectory, and I think he'll get there, then we can sit back and say, we got an elite quarterback and you don't. So take that, Eagles, Seahawks, Cowboys, Lambs, and everyone else, right? So, yeah, let's do that.
All right, guys, let's go to our hurry up offense and the 2-minute warning. And Becca, you're up.
Well wishes to Talanoa Hufanga. Get better. We're going to miss you. That is for sure. Jair Brown, Jersey boy in the house. Welcome. Get your playtime. Get yours. Next man up. Go Niners. Happy birthday to Fred Warner and Eric Armstead. And happy salute to service. It's my favorite game, and I didn't get out there to it. But thank you for your service to all the active duty service military personnel. So yeah, go Niners. Let's get this on Thanksgiving tomorrow.
Yeah, congratulations to Brock Purdy, who is the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. Let's get this dub tomorrow. Let's move to 8-3 and then on to the next. But, let's not take the Seahawks lightly. It's a divisional game. They're always tough to play, but let's go and do our thing. And as always, go Niners.
I want to say shout out to the 49ers. I was out there for that salute the service game my first time, and what they did for the vets and honoring them all game long. And they had a helicopter flyover that was magnificent, wonderfully done. Kudos to them. Happy belated to Fred Warner, and get well soon, Huff. Fred got the victory lay, and I know Kim will keep it going. Shout out to Kim. Yeah. I know you're watching. You be watching us. I know you do, Kim. And enjoy Thanksgiving, everybody. Go Niners.
By the way, just as a heads up, it looks like DK Metcalf's going to be good to go. He may not have practiced today, but apparently that's like a normal thing that they do with him. So he's probably going to play. Just play good defense. Get out of there with a win. Don't throw him too much because you get to beat him again in 2 weeks, right? And then you get to beat Philly next week, but one win at a time. So get up there and any means necessary. Bang, bang, Niner gang.
And happy birthday, Kelly.
Yes. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Thanks for tuning in tonight on Thanksgiving Eve. Everyone, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your family and friends. And go Niners. We will see you next week.
And of course, for the upstart 49ers, they're 6 yards away from Pontiac. 3rd and 3.
We'll see a pickup sometime on the right side, possibly.
Montana looking, throwing in the end zone.